3, 2, 1. You're live on the air. What's
Hey,
your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, how's it going, Benjamin? How you doing?
Going great, man. Thanks so much for the call. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Marcus. I live in Los Angeles, and I heard you on a Majority Report with Sam Cedar. I think it was last week, so I've been following you ever since.
Appreciate it, man. Sam
And,
Cedar and them, the great guys over there. So what's on your mind?
Yeah. So we've been talking. I've been hearing you guys talking about Hillary Clinton a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what kind of person she is. She's not a progressive. She's a neoliberal war hawk, and she does the bidding of the big banks and the big corporations. So, I mean, I'd like to talk about what Bernie Sanders needs to do to gain momentum.
Okay.
And he really needs to talk about the black struggle and Black Lives Matter and police brutality and the criminal justice system a lot more. I've been a big Bernie supporter, you know, since I heard he was starting to run. And, you know, I obviously agree with his message, but, like, the same speech and talking points over and over is getting tiresome. You know, he's got to appeal to a bigger demographic, even though not everybody knows that money in politics affects every aspect of our political system. And I think, you know, I am a white man, so I understand my privilege. But I think he really needs to talk about not just to solely for the purpose of pandering to the black community, but to really send the message out to the nation that, you know, black people have been suffering for decades and that this needs to change. We can't let it continue to let children get shot in a park and let, you know, cops get away with. I mean, I think he really needs to talk about that because it's a really important message. You know,
okay.
I think that really needs to be talked about from his campaign.
All right.
So that's just where I'm coming from.
Okay, we'll dissect that. Let's talk about that. I have my thoughts and my opinions. Hey, thanks so much for the call. Let's start with David. David, I want to start with the non-black person. What's your opinion? Love you, man.
I'll say this. As far as privilege, I think coming from a perspective of a white person, it's incredibly difficult to really ever understand what that's like. So I would never claim to know my privilege exactly, but to each his own. I will say that I think Bernie should expand on the topic of Black Lives Matter, on the topic of racial justice. He's slowly getting there, but he hasn't touched far enough.
This is interesting because I think I have a different perspective. So let Anoa go next. Anoa, what do you think?
I don't really think that there's anything problematic with his current messaging. I do think that it needs to be expanded in some areas, which he has started to do. I know there's one of the guys in one of my groups earlier, he was saying he needed to do more in terms of K through 12 education because, again, going back to my example of the Chicago Teachers Union, there's a lot that many of our communities are struggling through and dealing with as we're looking at opportunity school districts and charter schools. I mean, not all charter schools are bad, but we need to really have very clear, definitive standards and guidelines when we're talking about what we're doing in terms of public education. He has mentioned vaguely before addressing issues with funding and financing in schools. So I do think there are environmental justice he's starting to talk about a little bit more. I do think there are things he should talk about more, but I think that he has set the standard for politicians in terms of talking about Black Lives Matter. I mean, and that's also because he was challenged earlier on and he responded. I mean, could he say some more things or do some more things? Sure. But I think in terms of, you know, when he's talking about anti-imperialism and the U.S. and the CIA overthrowing governments abroad, whether he's linking that back to what has happened in the States or not, that is directly relevant. We're talking about how to address how our police forces, how our CIA interacts with, you know, indigenous people and governments. That is absolutely relevant to everything that goes on here. We're in the 50th anniversary year of the Black Panther Party, you know, and Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were murdered in their beds by the Chicago police, you know, with FBI, COINTELPRO assistance. So I think that there's a lot there. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of room for discussion. But I do agree that there are some areas where he does need to mix it up. He needs to get just a little bit more, just simple. He just needs to make it real simple and just speak to people plainly. Because when Hillary was all over the place about Social Security tonight, Bernie's very clear and direct about Social Security, and he just needs to be simple and straight to the point with people.
Okay.
I think sometimes.
Go ahead.
I'm real quick. I was gonna. I agree with Noah. I think that the disruptions and the pushback from Black Lives Matter and the protests definitely actually benefited Bernie. Just contrary to the outcry and the fits that happen, I think it actually did benefit him. What I will say is, sometimes it feels like he's walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
When he talks about it.
I agree.
And that's what I mean by expand. And I don't know how he can do it, but I feel like sometimes that feeling has to go away. He has to somehow deal with that.
You know what? And this is why as the black guy in the group, I'm going to disagree with all of you. I think
Go ahead.
I think Bernie Sanders has done enough, and anything more would not be true to himself. I think anything more would be pandering. I mean, he endured protest. He put out one of the most intensive criminal justice reform platforms. He is hitting 9 out of the 10 points for Campaign Zero, which is headed by DeRay McKesson. He has talked about the issues from a racial component as well as an economic component. Hillary Clinton only wants to talk about the racial component. So I think that I agree with you, David, in this. He's walking on eggshells, and that's intentional. This is not a statement against Bernie Sanders. This is a statement against the establishment black community who is playing this racial politics identity game with Bernie Sanders, because it is so easy to make an old white man the villain compared to an old white woman. And that's exactly what they have done. Now, in terms of, everything I just said was Bernie being true to himself. Now, in terms of political expediency, I will concede to the caller as well as to each of you, for political expediency, perhaps he should just go ahead and play the game. I would hate to see him have to do that, because it is an unfair game for him to have to play when nobody is even asking Hillary Clinton what she even has ever done to deserve the black vote.
And I agree with you. I think that he shouldn't have to play the game, because, to be honest, that will draw the in my mind, that I can imagine that drawing the argument, the narrative that, see, we were right all along. So I wouldn't say that, and that's why I said I don't know what the answer is, because he is between a rock and a hard spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the issue. It's a difficult one, but he absolutely should stay true to himself, because that's who he is. That's who he's always been. He's always been the real deal. The shortest way to say it.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I have a new caller. Noah, did you have anything else to add there before I take this call?
No, I do agree though with the point about why don't we push on Hillary, and with all the different commentary about what Bernie has to do, agreed. The chant, and especially coming from a lot of these black pundits who supposedly are neutral, Elon James talking about you, come get my vote. People have to earn the vote. People have to earn the vote. If people have to earn the vote,
how about that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
People need to earn the vote. Then we need to earn the vote. Then we need to let people earn the vote. Then we need to put everybody on notice, ask the same exact questions, and hold everybody accountable the same way across the board. Seriously. That's what we need to do. No, I don't think you should vote for Bernie because in 1962, 1963, he did something while he was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed white kid at the University of Chicago. Right. No, that is not a good enough reason for me. I do think it matters when we're talking about people's consistency and commitments and stuff. But at the same time, I think it's disingenuous to disregard what has been happening. Right. Go look up any of his old speeches. There's a 1993 speech as chairman of the Progressive Caucus when he's talking about, sticking up for the people in a debate, in a budget debate. Go on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. You can look up. He has decades worth of speeches, and everybody would say, "Oh, well, he's been in Congress all this time. What has he done?" He's been fighting the good fight and doing his best to make sure there are valuable amendments that get put into place when he was in the House. And then on the committee that wrote the ACA, he made sure that money got put in for community health centers. What has Hillary Clinton done? And don't talk to me about CHIP, because you can give children insurance and then simultaneously kick their parents off of welfare. I don't really understand what you're bragging about.
Right.
So we need to earn the vote, and everybody needs to be held accountable. And my other issue with Hillary Clinton is if we get to claim the Clinton years, positively for her as a part of her record, she needs to claim all of it. It is all her legacy equally.
I agree with you 100%. 954, you're live on the air.